period of 6,000 years. Well, you are the boss there. You started there.
You maintain that the white man, according to this book, has been on this earth only 6,000 years.
Only 6,000
and that the
years.
black man was here many, many years, centuries before.
We don't have no birth record.
But the anthropological facts may differ with you, but this is, of course, according to your religion, right?
It depends on the man who does the analyzation of this past history of our people, bones and rocks and whatnot.
Your statement of inevitable war is so reminiscent of what Red China has been saying, that the yellow race and with the colored race will fight the white race, that it's a little frightening that you would be in the same being, the same line of reasoning with him.
We cannot move ourselves if we are there by God himself. In the beginning we are there, and you are there. In the very beginning. We cannot change nothing, and I'm not asking no one to accept any change that I would try and make, because I'm not trying to make one. Everything that I say concerning the truth, whether it's war, whether it's separation of nations, I have it from Bible 1, from Jesus, from all the prophets in the past, from God himself, and I'm not talking myself. I'm talking what God and his prophets say.
That we discussed at the opening of this show, Mr. Muhammad, that is your prediction in the book, The Message to the Black Man, that the whites and the non-whites inevitably must come to a war. Do you really feel that there must be a war between the races?
If you will not submit to the law of justice, freedom, justice, and equality, and submit to do good, something.
To the Muslims of Number 1 Michigan, the following is the original rules of instruction to the laborers of Islam, and the title of Muslim given by our Savior before his departure, with a footnote of a few words of explanation to lay pressure upon their minds of their many errors in the past and present, that they may see the light and walk therein. I thank you, Elijah Muhammad. Instructions given to the laborers by our Savior, W.D. Farad Muhammad. 1. The student must study his assignment, lesson number 1. Each student should copy the answers of lesson of Minister Elijah Muhammad and study until the student is able to memorize by heart all answers to of said lesson number 1. Note, here lesson number 1 is said to be the student's assignment first. Lesson number 1 lays the base of our work today and gives the student a clear knowledge of himself and his heavenly home, the best part of the earth, and who was the enemy to him and his nation, and why the enemy and righteous could not live together, and why was the righteous able to cast out his enemy. This teaches the student what he must do with the enemy of the righteous today. The righteous nation is now living in every part of the planet Earth. Therefore, the enemy must now be removed in every part of the planet Earth.
Case. I'm making this video about the 500 Muslims who went down to the Detroit Police Department in 1934. Because we have a lot of people these days who try to criticize the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you have people who come at the Nation of Islam in many different ways. But one of the ways that they come at the nation is they try to make it seem like Malcolm X attracted all of these people to the nation, and that the Nation of Islam was like he was some powerful leader in the Nation of Islam, and without Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam would be nothing. Then you have those who try to criticize Master Farad Muhammad with these FBI files. But let's look at it, brothers and sisters. Because this incident that the Muslims had with the Detroit Police Department, you can find this on the Detroit News website, which is DetroitNews.com, and I will post the link so you can read this for yourself. And we'll see that in 1934, long before Malcolm X, we had 500 Muslims go down and have to check the Detroit police. Let's look at it, brothers and sisters. Now this comes from the Detroit News website. It says the headquarters and school set up on Hastings Street was raided by police and Detroit school officials on April 16, 1934. Several members were arrested and held. They were charged with contributing to the delinquency of minors by withdrawing children from the public schools and teaching subversive doctrines. This is the good part. It says the next day, 500 nation members marched to the police headquarters to see those who were arrested. They were met by Detroit police. Then it says the fight erupted when a police inspector was knocked down and a police squad went to his aid. 150 police using batons joined the clash that lasted 10 minutes. It says 12 police were injured with cuts and bruises. 100 were arrested. Then another sweet spot. It says there was no report of marchers injured. Now when it talks about these 12 police who were injured with cuts and bruises, we'll give the devils the benefit of the doubt, because I believe it was probably more than 12 who got injured. If 150 of these devils came out and it was 500 Muslims, it was probably more than 12 of those devils that got cuts and bruises. But we'll overlook that. You know what I'm saying? The main thing is when it says there was no report of marchers injured. That's the main thing. But then we get to another sweet spot in this report when we get to the 29 brothers who was in court being tried on these charges. It says that this picture is on April the 22nd, 1934 in Recorder's Court. It says that these brothers was asked to raise their right hands to be sworn. The defendant stretched out arms with palms up and said, "We swear only by the one true God, Allah." So we all know, once again, that the Allah that these brothers is talking about is Master Farad Muhammad. So I gave in another video an example of the Nation of Islam in 1965 with Brother Shoemate, who also gave praise to Allah for his incident that he had with Carlos Gambino's Mafia family. He gave praises to Allah. Then we see in 1934 when these brothers, these